So today we're going to go over the financial health check that I have put together for therapists. And this is a free offer that I'm running for the end of the year. And I'm happy that you're here to join me today, Megan. And yeah, I'm glad that we are partners. If you want to tell us a little bit about you and all your good stuff.
Sure. Well, thanks so much for putting this together today. I think this is going to be super informative. I'm Megan Gunnell. I am the admin of the Thriving Therapists Facebook community and the founder of the Thriving Well Institute. And I'm excited that we're in this partnership together because bookkeeping and financial health is something that a lot of therapists shy away from. So we're really looking forward to learning from you today. So thanks for sharing your time and resources.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm happy to do it. And I guess I should also say that, yeah, I'm Lorin Hamilton, founder of Open Books Accounting, and I work exclusively with therapists and love all things accounting and therapy. So that's,
Perfect.
yeah,
Perfect
that's, yeah, exactly. So I did create this health check because I know, at the end of the year, therapists are probably maybe not quite thinking about it, but would, just to make the start of the new year a little easier. But the review that I go through, even like if you were to come on as a new client of mine, these are the things that I look at. So even before we start working together. So I just wanted to offer this as just kind of a free service for the end of the year for those that, are thinking, I don't know if my accounting's right, or I don't know what I'm doing, or I know there's something missing and I just don't have time to look at it. So, and that's kind of why I put a score.
You do like an audit essentially of where everybody's starting, and then it gives you a great sense, it sounds like, of what areas need the most support.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously what I have on the screen is just kind of a demo account. So this is kind of what your scorecard will look like. And I didn't want to give a grade as being like a bad thing or, like a bad, mentality, but really just kind of a starting off point. Cause I think a lot of people, with, thinking about their accounting, maybe their thoughts are, it's just a total mess. And that may not be the case. Maybe that's just what you think it is. So this would really just kind of, just like in an assessment, like it just kind of gives you a starting point as to, what I'm seeing and what I would fix, and just some suggestions on either how to make it better, or there are things that you're actually doing right and should continue to do. So
Excellent.
So yeah, so just taking a look at the scorecard here, I just wanted to kind of go through, the categories, and I'm going to pull up QuickBooks too. And I guess to also mention that I'm not, exclusive to QuickBooks, whatever accounting system you might be using. And hopefully, you do have something, even like a spreadsheet, to, to at least keep yourself organized. But
oh my gosh, for any therapist listening to this feeling a little bit nervous already, I will share that in the very beginning, I had a shoebox full of paper receipts. And I literally used to take the shoebox, it was like from DSW, right to my accountant's office. And he was always like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm like, no, I'm not. And now it's on you. I was just like, it was so bad. Oh my gosh, it was embarrassing. So anything, like you said, a Google sheet or a spreadsheet or some sort of table, maybe some, even a pen and paper ledger is probably a better place to start than the old shoebox that I had. But,
Yeah.
Everybody starts somewhere. And now I have a better handle because I have my own QuickBooks Online account and a lot of bookkeeping support, which is excellent. But in the beginning, it was really scary and nerve-wracking. So I love that you make this really simple. And I never feel like you carry any judgment when you're working with your clients, which is always wonderful because therapists are nervous about this. We're not experts at numbers, so
Yeah.
this is really challenging for a lot of people.
Yeah, no, exactly. And yeah, that's, one of my main points, or, when I'm working with somebody, is just exactly that. Like, I went to school for accounting and taxes, and you went to school for helping, with mental health. So, we all are coming together with our strengths, and yeah, no judgment. I mean, there's I can't remember, there was a quote that I saw earlier, but talking about if you were to go to learn to play the piano, like the piano teacher is not going to be like, oh my gosh, you don't know how to play this song. I mean, they're going to be there to help teach you. So it's kind of the same mentality, we're all starting at one point. And so anyway, so that's another point to the scorecard, again, is just to give you that extra help that you might need. So
that's great.
So yeah, so we'll go through QuickBooks. The other thing I did want to point out with the scorecard, in addition to like getting a grade, is I'm just going to be making notes. So I'll kind of give you a priority list of, things that are working well and things that might need a little bit of attention, and then some things that are urgent that you might want to fix before either the end of the year or before you go to your tax preparer.
Okay. That's excellent.
And from there, like, you can create an action plan, which I'm, more than happy to help you with further, if you want to do an additional, meeting for that. And then also, obviously I don't know everyone's situation, intimately. So this is really just going to be a very broad, like comprehensive review. But if there's anything that I find too that might be a potential tax savings, I'll list that out for you too. And maybe that's something you can talk to your tax preparer, CPA further, or more in depth. So
yeah, it's a great thing, because a lot of times we miss some of those things, and you see this every day. And so of course these are kind of at the ready for you, but we don't know those things. And I remember in the very beginning, I had a really nice, accountant, and he was like, you don't have like half of the things that most business owners have on here. I was like, really? Like what? So I learned a lot just from his knowledge bank. I mean, again, this isn't the stuff that we learned in grad school. So it's like your piano analogy is perfect, because we can't really be, experts at something that we've never done. So, it's nice to be able to outsource and to onboard new people to help us on this, journey of trying to be a really smart business owner.
Yeah, exactly. And some of those can be complicated. I mean, again, depending on your situation, but yeah, just having the awareness of it is just kind of the first step. So, the last thing included in the scorecard are just things that I find important, and when I'm looking at someone's books, is really just your profit ratio and what you might want to be charging for a session price. And with the profit ratio, and I know, sometimes ratios and metrics and all that stuff can kind of get overwhelming too, but I just wanted to include like two main ones that I think are important. But the profit ratio is just going to show you how your expenses match up with your revenue. And I'll leave some notes as to like, is it a good number? Is it, maybe needs improvement, or, that kind of thing. So that way you kind of understand more about what it's actually saying.
I see. Okay.
And then same with the session pricing, I won't know exactly how much you're charging, for your sessions, but I can take, an average of what your monthly expenses are and kind of say, if you're doing 15 or 20 sessions a week, here's what, your session price might want to be, just so that you're covering your expenses during the year. And then that'll be a great way for you to kind of gauge, like, are you there? Do you need to think about increasing? And, just kind of getting, again, the conversation with you or your partners as to, where you want to be in the coming year.
Sure. A little side note, apologies if anyone out there is hearing the snoring dog. That is my little pup, and she's always here snoring in the background. So but and if I leave her outside the hall and shut the door, she just wants to come in. We don't have to tolerate that. But this is super helpful, because setting our own rates for cash fee reimbursement is something that is really difficult for us to calculate. And sometimes we're really just guessing, like, what are other people charging? And we're not really looking at our own numbers and our own profit ratio. So being able to spell this out is like leaps and bounds beyond what we probably normally do when it comes to setting our rates.
Yeah, great. Well, and again, that's what, I just wanted to, this is your data. Like, I'm just going to be taking your data that I'm reviewing and just kind of presenting it to you, um,
Mhm.
in a different way. So that way you can have some things to think about. And again, just kind of make the right decisions based off of what your practice needs and all that good stuff.
So tell me how you collect this. Do people fill out a questionnaire before you do this scorecard, or do you get access to their QuickBooks? Or what if someone doesn't have a QuickBooks account? Where do you start?
Yeah, so I do have on my website at, openbooks.llc, which all the links will be in all the places. But yeah, so you'll sign up and I will send you a Google survey, and just to get some more information like that, because I'll also want to know like what you're structured as. Like, are you a partnership, are you a sole member LLC? Because that'll help me understand, kind of what the activity you have going on. But then yes, so if you do have a QuickBooks account, I'll want to have just an accountant's access for that, and I'll send instructions on how to do that. And I know that might be a little scary for some people, just inviting a random person into their QuickBooks. But, obviously I'm a professional and have lots of limitations around that. So, and then obviously once the review is done, you can just remove me as an accountant view. So
Right.
I won't have any access to do anything. I'm literally just looking at reports. And then same thing with like if you're using Zero. Zero is another popular accounting system. You can just give me access to that. And if you're using a spreadsheet, either if it's on a Google Sheet or if you want to email me a copy, however, and we can kind of talk more about that, as we, get further into the process, as far as what to share with me to review.
That sounds great. Yeah, so that really you can take clients in at any stage of the game,
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
great. Mhm.
exactly. And I want to meet you where you are. So yeah, and whatever that might look like. I've been, in accounting for over 15 years, which is kind of hard to believe. But so yeah, I've seen all types of things. So
Yeah.
nothing scares me.
Well, and, I just also love the way that you approach this work. It's very therapy-esque,
Yeah, yeah,
because you have like a validating, no judgment kind of an approach. And you're like, we'll meet you where you are, which is very much how a therapist starts their work too. So, it's hard to get people comfortable with sharing things that they're a little uncomfortable sharing, and
yeah,
that's the same in our field too. So, it's very interesting that working with therapists is one of your specialties or your main specialty, because it's really like in your nature to operate very much like we do in our profession. So that's, it's an easy thing to see that you have that level of professionalism, but also the validation piece and the no judgment piece, because I think therapists are worried, like, we want to appear like, the experts that we are. And, we have graduate level education and being a great clinician and helping our clients with, life-saving strategies, obviously. But when it comes to numbers and financial stuff, sometimes therapists are just like, that is not my forte. And I kind of want to look the other way. So
yeah,
this is inviting them to get a little more proactive. And,
yeah,
when we start this process, I'll share from my own experience, like, when I started, having a QuickBooks Online account, it was very scary at first because I didn't want to expose what I didn't know. And I didn't want to also, have somebody else like looking at all my numbers and, potentially criticizing the way I ran my business or something. But that wasn't my experience at all once I opened it up. So I hope that people are encouraged hearing this today and, to take a proactive step, especially as you prepare for 2026, because there's nothing worse than kind of getting through a whole nother calendar year thinking, I should do that. I should have done it. I should have done it, and then you get to the end of the year and it's like, I didn't do it,
yeah, yeah,
So it's nice to be proactive.
yeah, exactly. And a little bit from my background, obviously I'm not a therapist, but I have been in therapy myself individually, for a
Mhm.
very long time. So I just kind of think about it of, you have your clients coming to you that are, should be in therapy or should be working on this, and they don't want to because they don't want to talk about it or they don't want to bring anything up. And so it's really kind of the same. And I have empathy for both sides of it, and the putting it off because we just don't want to deal with it. And at some point it'll find you when it finds you. So
It's true. I know there's no way around it. It's like,
yeah.
So it's better just to say, I'm going to, push myself to get comfortable being a little uncomfortable. And there's going to be a big sort of return on that investment once things get really cleaned up. Because as you can even see on this benchmark snapshot, a therapist might not be charging $142 a session, but they might be seeing 30 people a week at like half that rate,
Right.
So you could be showing them, like, if you only want to have 15 weekly appointments, this is the rate that's going to, help keep you at the profit ratio that you want. So it's just, it's very informative. I just try to look at it like, come into it with curiosity, stay present to this process, and know that you're getting some support that can be educational. You can learn something new and, help you get more organized as a business owner, because ultimately, we're not trained as CEOs, we're not trained as financial planners or marketers or any of those other things, but we have to kind of, show up to that if we're going to be successful in private practice.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, it is running a business, and all those things go into it, which, even from my standpoint, there's stuff that I have to do in my accounting business that I don't like doing, and that's, just how it goes. So you always need to find the people, though, that are going to support you. And it is important to find that relationship with somebody, because I think accountants do kind of have a stigma of, being kind of stodgy and dry and, that kind of thing. So yeah, so that's really why I like working with therapists, though, too, because I don't feel scared talking to you guys, because, you guys are helping people, and that's what you do, and that's your reason for going into this business. So yeah, so anyway, we're all working and supporting each other, and that's the main goal. So
that's great. Well, this has been super helpful. I know that people will really benefit from the scorecard approach, and I love that people can start at any point in their journey with you.
So yeah, so I'm glad we were able to go through the scorecard. And like I said, I'm offering this as a free service at the end of the year. I do only have 10 spots open for it. So, any therapist that's interested in doing this with me, or, having me review their accounting, can find me on openbooks.llc, and the sign up sheet will be there on my homepage.
Wonderful. Well, this is so great. Thanks again for having me on with you and explaining this amazing resource. I know that you normally charge for this, so I appreciate you giving the therapists in our community a chance to, learn a little bit more about what they could clean up in their own bookkeeping. And I know it will be very valuable for them.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, thank you too, Megan, for being on today. It was a good conversation, and yeah, I'm happy to help, the therapists in your community, and yeah, looking forward to working with them.
Well, thank you. I know that they will learn a lot from you.
Thanks.